Lesson 3, Unit 6, the closing phase. The closing phase of the project occurs when the project has achieved the planned objectives and all the deliverables have been completed. Here's the project cycle and the closing phase. The closing phase receives information from the monitoring phase, telling there is no more work. The project has been completed and there are no more problems with the project's latest deliverables or the need for changes or improvements. The work is done and the project is ready for the closing phase. These are the main steps of the closing phase. The project evaluation. This is usually the work of an outside consultant who is going to conduct the evaluation of the project. At this time, there is also a project audit. The final project reports. For some donors, this is a mandatory requirement, and the organization may also require one for internal use. Capture the lessons learned. Take the opportunity that you still have the team and key stakeholders to get together and capture and organize all the lessons they have learned. This will be beneficial to the organization and future projects. Team transitions. This is the time when some team members are going to be looking for new jobs within or outside the organization, and they are going to be needing some help with the transition. You can help by writing letters of recommendations and help them then move to the new projects or new jobs. Closing contracts. You also need to start closing all the contracts, not only the contract with the donor, but also with all the suppliers of goods and services and consultants that the project contracted. The administrative close. The last step is to close the project office, returning all the assets and inventory that was not used, and archiving all project documents. Here's the flowchart. It starts with evaluation audit reports. This will be used in the development of the project final reports to the donor and the organization. Then, you will have a session with the team and key stakeholders to capture all the lessons learned. Next is the time to help the team with transitions. You complete their evaluation of performance and you can write letters of recommendation so they can move to other projects. You work to close the donor and vendor contracts. You make sure there are any outstanding payments to vendors and all donor requirements to close the project have been taken care of. Finally, you monitor the administrative closing, ensuring that any equipment or office space rented is returned. You close services of utilities, bank accounts, inventory, and access to information systems are closed. Here are some recommendations for this phase. Review contract clauses for closing. Make sure you review all the contract requirements, especially from the donor. Make sure you have an understanding of what to do with any asset or leftover inventory that was purchased with donors' funds. Different donors will have different approaches on what to do with those assets. Vendor evaluations. You need to provide information to the procurement unit on the performance of the vendors used by the project. That information will help future projects. Close all bank accounts. It is important to make sure that all accounts used by the project are closed so you don't have problems later on with some open accounts and overdraft fees. Share the knowledge you learned. Organize a session and invite people from other projects who can benefit from the lessons your team learned. This is also the time to celebrate. And you get the team together, invite some key stakeholders, and celebrate the successful closing of the project. This is also a good time to recognize all the people who provided support, not just your team, but also the support from the stakeholders and the organization who provided services. It is important to celebrate and recognize the effort from everyone to bring the project to a successful end.